This is Al Fritsch at earthhealing.info. Today we're going to be talking about the Kentucky, or at least the eastern old growth forest. And so we have with us Donna Alexander, who's an expert on this area, and she'll tell us something about that in the course of time. But we're actually going to see a little of the old growth that is here in Kentucky. Donna, welcome to our program.
Thank you.
Okay. We're in the middle now of this enchanting forest, and we asked Donna to tell us something about it. What's your purpose in your organization to save this beautiful land that we've got with all these trees on it?
When it was first found, we had no idea that there was old growth this large left in Kentucky. We were pretty amazed because it was much grander. We had no idea that it was possible, that we didn't know there was this much old growth left. So the old growth is around 2,000 acres, and so we wanted to preserve it, obviously, because of the importance of old growth, and also because it's kind of the jewel in the Pine Mountain Wildlands corridor. Pine Mountain runs 125 miles from Tennessee to Virginia, and has over 100 rare plants and animals, and over 1,000 different species of plants and animals. So Blanton's kind of the jewel. It's not only the largest old growth forest in Kentucky, but it's also one of the largest in the eastern United States. Some of the trees are 300 and 400 years old. We also have some very rare plants and animals that are found here, and so this is their home and habitat that we hope to preserve.
And this is part of the mixed mesophytic forest,
Right.
which is the oldest and most varied forest in the temperate forest in the world.
It's one of the most biologically diverse temperate forests in the world.
Over 100 species of trees alone.
Different trees, that's correct.
And some of those we see here in very majestic ways, looking up, and we see these trees among us.
Right.
And that's for you. That's what you're trying to preserve in many ways.
Right, and the water is very clean here. It's one of the few places that you can find different, like the black-side dace that survives here, and they're known for only surviving in very clean waters. And so this forest has been really good in keeping the water clean.
We have to consider the Blanton Forest as being more than just a place where the old growth is growing. It's also really an educational and recreation place if it is properly done that way, and it is at the present time. And that is the Boy Scout camp, which is near the entrance of the forest, is heavily used. It's got good recreation facilities such as swimming and lake. But it also includes the invitation to the youth to go and climb the mountain and observe the hiking trails that are available for them. And in that sense, they learn about the precious nature of the old growth forest. Besides youth, really, the old growth forest here at Blanton is available for the general public. In fact, it's on a daily basis. They can come. The hiking trails are available. They are difficult at spots, and so the lower portions where they're better maintained are where people who have a difficulty in walking can use these. But others can climb the mountain and go up and see some extremely good rock formations and places where they can sit and observe the whole landscape which has the old growth forest. Besides this, we have to realize that these people are getting an education more than just a recreational opportunity. And they learn a lot about a precious forest, which was good in its past, and it really is the way it was in the past because it hasn't been affected by human beings. And it is what we expect of the future for reclaiming lands which have been disturbed in some fashion. We hope to bring them back to the shape that these old growth forests are. Really, we have to consider that volunteers are very important and key to keeping the old growth in a good shape. Both the boundaries, as we said, the hiking trails themselves, and also any other areas near there where approaching the forest is very important for tourists. So we can see that there is always a need for people to help maintain an old growth forest. Okay, this is Tyler Potter, who's one of the maintenance people that works with the trust and other people. Could you tell us, it takes work, doesn't it, to keep up an old growth area?
Yes, sir. Especially with not a lot of resources and manpower, so it takes a lot from the individuals that are expected to keep up these areas.
Do you have help from volunteers?
Sometimes they do. They bring in certain groups that will help out. I'm sure that Boy Scouts has helped in the past, and
There's certain things they can do on trail maintenance,
right,
boundaries, but not too much, huh?
not too much. Yeah, just a lot of the labor intensive. They help carry in supplies and tools that's needed to keep these areas up and maintained.
Well, thank you very much. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir.
Really, the difference between the old growth east and old growth west is that of diversity. And we can see that in the 100 or more different trees that grow in the eastern portion of our country that has not been affected by invasives, which do come in, of course. But we have everything that you might imagine in both hard and softwood forests. There's hemlocks and pine, of course, and we have the oaks, elms, maples, birch, poplar. We have rhododendron thickets, on and on, many of which you have heard, and you're marveling because we have both the hillsides and also we have lowlands, which are wetlands, and they too have different varieties. All available within the 4, 5, 6,000 acre tract that makes up the Blanton forest. Okay, Donna, can you tell us about some of the dreams that you have for the region that we are looking at, the Pine Mountain area?
Well, we're specifically working on Pine Mountain on the Wildlands corridor, and so we'd like to see it protected as a continuous wildlife corridor. All the way we run, Pine Mountain of course runs Tennessee all the way up into Virginia, and there's
100 and some miles?
125 miles.
Okay.
And Blanton Forest is our jewel of the mountain, but there's many other treasures, and we'd like to see it connected for wildlife, for our rare plants and animals.
And then you're going to have a nature walk area?
There's also the Pine Mountain Trail that will run through and be part of the Great Eastern Trail that'll run 1,800 miles from Alabama to New York, and the Kentucky portion will be on Pine Mountain.
That's wonderful.
So we hope for it to be there for everyone to enjoy.
What a lot of people don't understand is that the mountain is really a ridge, a range,
right,
rather than just an individual mountain. Am I right about that?
Right. It runs Tennessee to Virginia. It runs through Whitley, Bell, Harlan, Letcher, Pike counties. So it's a range. It's not just a small piece of mountain.
Most of it's wooded, and you have now purchased for yours or the state a lot of that property.
So. Right. Over a third of the mountain is now protected, and so we're just continuing to connect up those pieces that are already protected by state parks, state nature preserves, wildlife management areas, and then the properties that we also own.
Wonderful. Well, we're hoping that this will come for the public to see in a very short time, realized in the form of a part of our a network of trails. And your preservation work is very helpful to us all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I hope so too. Thank you.
I'd like to have a contrast between the old growth forest that we saw in the west at Big Sur and what we see here at Blanton Forest. This is majestic just as much as that is, except the trees are not as old, 300 instead of 2,000 years old, but at the same time it's old growth and it's well preserved. And we've had good groups that are willing to do it and are willing to expand it to include other areas. But the greatest difference that we'd say is that we have variety in the eastern part of the country, hundreds of varieties of both trees and other plants, whereas in the west we're talking about one redwood only, and it is truly great in itself. but we like variety too. And this makes this a very wonderful place to find and to preserve old growth forest. This is Al Fritsch from earthhealing.info. Come and visit us sometime. Thank you.